Welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be hopefully installing my rear wiper blank. I've got the blank, I've got the silicone. This is hopefully the easier side of this job. I haven't actually got any tape to hold this on, so I might use some electrical tape or something like that to help myself. The car's nice and clean because Reese did it just the other day. I've been to Haynes Motor Museum this morning, so I've had a good day so far, so hopefully this is going to top it off. I know some of these bolts inside here, as you see I've already got my cover off. That's because my cover doesn't actually stay on anymore, so this is constantly like this. Weight saving, you know. So I've got straight access to my motor. I'm going to get rid of that obviously. If you are doing this from scratch, yeah, one Torx bit, rest of it pops off, and then you get access to the motor at the back here. You've got two, from what I can see anyway now, two 10mm bits that you need to undo. You need a 10mm spanner and the flathead to go in the middle. I've tried to do this once before and it didn't go very well, so I don't know how I'm going to get on today, but we'll see. But these two 10mm here, they come off quite well, but when they get to the end they get a little bit stuck on mine. I don't know if it's going to be the same with yours. Obviously with the wiper on the back itself, I'd think about giving that some WD-40 almost straight away. Soak it a few times over if you can, because they are prone to not being very nice. And then there's one more bolt behind our little cover here, which obviously I'll talk about getting off in a minute. It's pretty much just to get a flathead screwdriver behind, pop it off, and you'll get access to the motor just behind. So those three nuts are hopefully all this holding on the wiper motor. Obviously we'll unplug it, remove it, and hopefully stick the glass in there with the silicone. So yeah, we're going to get to it. Once again, I'm going to talk through all those processes as we go. You're going to hopefully not see too many of my struggles, but if you do, then you know what to look out for on yours when you come to it. So yeah, let's get to it. 10mm spanner, flathead screwdriver, and my grips. Just got to lift up the front. So luckily enough, I can do it with one hand. This is the next stage you'll struggle with, is actually getting the wiper off itself, because as you can see from my one even there, this rust will sort of build up and it wedges it. Even after only taking it off the other day, I'm still going to have to wobble it quite a bit and it will, yeah, come off. But he likes to hold on quite a lot, so even if you get the nut off, it will hold on there as well. But that's the same process. If you have to cut through just the plastic. Yeah, so two poppers. One's come with and one hasn't. It actually looks like he's slightly broke, but let's not worry about that, because hopefully you won't be coming back. On the inside now, you got this nut here. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but as a guess, the biggest socket I've got here is a 21 and it doesn't fit just. So I'd say that was probably a 22 or maybe pushing a 23, but because mine doesn't fit, I've got an adjustable spanner, which will go around, and this bolt is normally nice and easy to get off because it doesn't rust underneath there. Really loose because these two are the only two holding it on, so I get the privilege of still trying to get them off. If they don't come off, I'm just going to hack them off. Cool, so that idea actually worked really well, so I'm just going to make a bit of an extra point on that. After sort of using the flathead and the socket, flathead and the wrench to get it down pretty much as far as you could, I then went with the socket and the adjustable grips, popped them in there, just about could slide the grips in there. That time I had to squeeze this rubber bit at the top a bit more because he was a bit tighter, but squeeze that nice and tight, undid it with the socket. Easy as that. That's actually really easy. I was a little bit worried because I was obviously rounding the pants out of them, but now I can take both of these off fully, and then we're going to let the mechanism drop once I've unplugged it as well. All it is just a single white plug. You're just going to need to push the little white clip down on top, wriggle, and it'll come out. Alright, so then it doesn't pull or mess with any of your electrics. He clearly really wanted to come out. So. Okay. There is your wiper motor. So if you want to replace your wiper motor, bash, that's it, removed. Hopefully that will make it just as easy for you as it did for me then, using that other technique as well, if need be. So now when we bring it down, we have a lovely hull and minging glass. Hopefully that cleans up. That will upset me if I don't clean up. It looked like it should. So after a good sort of 10 minutes of faffing, I've found a way that is decent. So Just a few more tips if you were obviously taking this off, which you should be, unless you've got something else on there. These two are at the back. As you can see, I have ended up breaking both of these. The clip is not a full sort of pushy in thing anymore. One was left in there, one wasn't. One came with it, the other one didn't. So I had to get some. Well, I put a flathead underneath it pretty much to try to pop it out, but it obviously just snapped it because it didn't want to come in place. So I've just put it back on there. They will still work because I did try it, but obviously they come out easier now. So just be careful if you were thinking about putting it back. Be careful when you take them out, because if those little pins stay behind in these two holes, you obviously got to stick a flathead behind or pinch them or something and get them out. I also took this rubber off the inside. It was this way round, and it went in that main central hole up in there, so that's where I came from, right there. Reason why I'm explaining this so much, because this I've worked out it's going to be the biggest hand we are going to have. So rather it being in this hole backwards with that little, with nothing showing, I'm going to turn it around and push it in this way. Because I was talking to the D-Wiper LTD, his name's Matt. I was talking to him about sort of techniques and what could we do to sort of bung it forward, because he's been saying he's told people to put rags in there, I don't know, packers in there, stuff like that, just to help it push it out. But I found if you just spin this squidgy little rubber around, it pretty much sits it forward like an absolute dream. So I'm very happy with myself for finding that out. So turn the rubber around like so. I might go get my head mount for this bit so you can so it sort of helps you along a little bit. Obviously with this, the Clio bit on the front there, that's the very last thing you pick off, because obviously that's got the glass in there. In a second I need to clean my glass to make sure it's all good to go. But this piece will slide in quite far down, because you've got that lip at the top. Slide in at the bottom, tuck that back lip underneath. Should also tuck in at that side. And then it's in. Obviously from behind now, you can put your finger through that hole and touch it and mess with it, but it's very difficult with one hand to move it around. But obviously there is a bit of play because it's got to get in there originally, so you've got to try and find the best way possible to get this gap all the way around the outside nice and neat and nice and clean. But it does have a little bit of play even with that bung in there. But I'm going to use a black packer from work, shout out Arian guy. So I obviously use these for tiling and stuff like that, or packing up floors. But I'm going to stick that underneath like so, just to get it into position. Make sure he's pressed forward, keep the packer underneath, and that holds it like an absolute dream. Could not get that any better. All smooth around the top. Admittedly it pokes out a little bit there, but minimal, like probably about half a mil, not even that. I don't know how you guys have already got rear wiper deletes do it, but that to me seems like an absolute dream find. It's just to turn the bung around, and then we can hopefully silicone around the edge and silicone through the back, and it will stay there forever. The reason why I'm doing a packer underneath is just so it will hold it up originally. As soon as it's in place, I should be able to take it out and it won't drop. But I'm obviously going to keep checking up on it while the silicone dries, but we're going to get quite messy in a minute because we need to put the silicone around the edge and get it going. So, yay. So the whole reason for putting it on my head is that it's going to help you guys look at what I'm doing with these two beauties. Just trying to get all the rubbish off. Because the last thing you want is it looking grubby. Make sure we got tissue to hand, because this feels like it's going to be fun. So I'm just going around the top. I'm going to try and get a bit down the bottom there as well, along this little groove. You've got grooves the whole way around, and then I'm going to be sliding them in for the front and maybe getting a little bit of silicone around the back a little bit later on as well, but feeling the pressure. So as there's no nozzle, just going to try and apply it in the cap like so. You want to keep the silicone as one straight bead, I assume, because the last thing you want is to leave a gap. I partly feel like I'm going to get this all over my glass and everything, so I've got the cleaner ready, just in case I do. And slowly but surely, that's that.
So that, I'm actually really fucking impressed with. I'm actually really impressed with that, because I've actually got that all the way around without mushing it absolutely everywhere. A few thinner spots, like this one over here, so I'm just gonna, ooh, tighten him up. Make sure it's all good and thick around the outside, because I can always fill it up. Right, it might be a little bit harder to fill it up a bit later. So try not to get it everywhere. It says on the guide to do a bead along the bottom as well. So we're doing that. And that looks like a pretty thick bead. This, I'm not feeling very confident about this. I actually think I've messed up because I need to squeeze that down into the car to shove it in, but we'll have to just clean it up, right? Have I done that right? Have I done that right? Yeah, bugger it. So I've already smushed an absolute ton all over the car. So let's get that off. Can I get off on my finger first of all, like I do at work, and then get rid of that. Nothing wrong with using too much. Obviously it takes a bit of time to dry, so there isn't any rush really, you just want to make sure it's all off your bodywork. So my technique of getting that may have gone too ham on the old silicone, but the only thing I don't want it to do is leak. So the more the merrier, in my opinion. Unless it's all over your car like it is on there. So that bung is doing me absolute wonders at the moment because I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on it. It keeps bouncing back and holding it where I want it to be. So the silicone is a nasty but effective little bugger, so gotta make sure you get it off. Make sure you've got a bit. Oh, I've got this one light behind me here, but just trying to get in areas where I can see it if it is hanging around on the bodywork, because it's the last thing you want when you're trying to make your car look pretty, is to make it look worse. If I was me doing this again, I would add a little bit of not duct tape, like a masking tape or something like that on the bodywork here, just to make it easier, just so you don't have to scrub it down, and make sure he's clean. It gets that main bulk off. Like I said, I'm quite glad I did silicone the bottom. Whether you want to silicone it after or before like I did, it's completely up to you, because it does make it quite messy at the start, but just make sure I got off all the glass. Just make sure it's a nice clean silicone bead all the way around the outside. Ooh, bit intense. Yeah, the packers are just underneath, one on each side, just to keep it held up and in. Little bit of a point on each side here, but the rest of it is gorgeous. But all in all, pretty decent compared. Oh, I've got finger marks all over it. All in all, compared to
You're not going to miss the wiper, hopefully I don't. But from that chunky monkey to nothing and a clean bit of glass in there. Just remember, be careful. A few of my top tips: use that rubber on the inside, take it out, push it in through from this side, push it in, and that's going to give you sort of, yeah, something to help hold the wiper kit out and keep it in place nice and easy, rather than a rag or anything like that. This sort of said about before. Be careful with the silicone. I'd maybe put something there to help you sort of getting it all over your car. As I was saying, maybe a little bit of masking tape or something like that. People do use tape on the front of this as well to hold them out, but with pretty much just that rubber in the way, it's going to stay there for you anyway. Once again, I use these two black packers in the ends just to help me keep it up, because it did keep sliding it down, but the silicone started to dry in about 30 minutes to an hour anyway, so obviously it's not going to be perfectly dry yet. It's not supposed to rain for the next few days anyway, so I'm all good to leave it outside, because the sort of external silicone will be going hard. It should be hard within a few hours, to be honest, but just for safety, a good sort of at least half a day or a day or so, just to leave it before getting it wet or anything like that. Yeah, and then we'll see if it's waterproof. If not, I've still got pretty much half a tube of silicone to go, and then we're all good. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. If you are interested in one of these badges, again, do look down in the links below in the description. I've linked his eBay page and his website, where you can get the wiper delete and silicone to go with it if you would like it, unless you want to use your own silicone. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Do remember, like, comment and subscribe. Almost at 1k subs, and I believe that Matt at D-Wiper LTD is going to be sending me a few of these to give to you guys as a little bit of competition. I don't know how I'm going to run the competition. It might be through my Instagram or something like that, but yeah, if he does send those, that'd be decent, and that means I can give something back to you guys for subscribing. So yeah, thank you very much, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.